What's Rishi Sunak good at? What's he actually good at? This isn't a silly question. Boris Johnson, I'd give you an hour now on what Boris Johnson's good at. Seriously, I'd give you an hour. Brilliant at lying. Brilliant at boosting people. Brilliant at making people a sort of not very bright person's idea of what a very bright person looks like. Brilliant at promoting idiots in order to make himself look good. You want to look good? Put Nadine Dorries and Jacob Rees-Mogg in your cabinet. You're going to look like Einstein by tea time. What's Boris Johnson good at? How long have you got? He's probably the most accomplished liar I have ever encountered in my personal or professional life. That ability to lie and lie and lie while not even acknowledging the vaguest possibility of the existence of truth is magnificent to behold. Objectively magnificent. It's like watching Maradona score a goal in the World Cup final with his hand. It's wrong on every imaginable level, but bloody hell, he got away with it. And they just won the World Cup. He scored with his hand, for God's sake, but they won the World Cup. That's what Boris Johnson is like as a politician. The biggest cheat, the biggest liar, the biggest fraud you could ever hope to encounter, but so brilliant at being a cheat and a liar and a fraud, he ended up Prime Minister. He won the World Cup. What else is he good at? Surrounding himself with idiots so that he looks good. Surrounding himself with sycophants so that he's never challenged. Surrounding himself with people like Jacob Rees-Mogg and Nadine Dorries so that he sort of can cultivate this image of competence or this image of success. What else is he good at? Sort of bumbling, jokey stuff and jumping out of cars and pretending he's been jogging, which brings people like Brendan Clark-Smith to his yard. So there's loads of things he's good at. What's Rishi Sunak good at? And how bad is he as Prime Minister? Either one or the other, or indeed both of those questions, you are hereby invited to answer. Jim's in Glasgow. Jim, what do you reckon?
Oh, good morning, James.
Hello, Jim. I am.
Rishi Sunak, I wish he would stop saying, he goes on and on about the British people have asked him to do this and the British people have asked him to do that. Now, one of his 5 points, he got an answer last night in question time. Not one person and you've already alluded to this, not one person put their hand up.
It's a bit weird, that, isn't it?
Yes.
But they might have been too embarrassed to do so. I mean, even if you fancied it, you might not put your hand up in that particular room, no?
Yeah, I see that point, yeah. But, I mean, I watched Suella Braverman in the Commons yesterday. Now, this is what's happening now with the Tory party. You ask them any questions and they won't give you, but then politicians are like that, they won't give you an answer. But all the Tory party's doing at the minute is blaming other people. They're blaming Labour, they're blaming SDLP, they're blaming SNP, you
Sunshine.
name it, Liberal Democrats.
Sunshine.
They won't give you an answer.
Moonlight, they're blaming the moonlight, I think.
Everybody else, they start all these fires, they're blaming everybody else
Boogie.
because they can't give you an answer to the question.
All right, back up a bit. You've forgotten what the topic is this morning, I think, Jim. Because some politicians are very good at that. Some politicians are very good at blaming wholly unresponsible institutions or individuals for it.
True.
I don't think, and the question today is, what is Rishi Sunak good at? I don't think he's very good at that. I think people can see through it. When Johnson blamed stuff on the blob or the woke mob or whatever it is this week, I think it worked better because he was a much better liar. So he's not even very good at bogus victimhood.
No, and he's not a very good bluffer. But what the point I will make is he wasn't put in there by the British people. Neither was Liz Truss. One was put in by the Parliamentary Party, another one was put in by the members. So the British people haven't had a say yet. So the two of them haven't had a mandate.
No,
but they're trying their best to wreck this country.
But Boris Johnson had a mandate, and he was either the worst or the second worst out of the three of them, wasn't he?
That guy should never have been allowed near Parliament.
Or scissors.
We know that.
No, I know.
Scissors.
So what then? How bad is Sunak compared, just in that little hat trick of horror shows, how bad is he compared to Truss? And he's still the best out of those three, is he, or not?
No.
Oh, come on.
The man's not. It's not a prime minister.
Well, who's he worse than?
Who's he worse than? He's an economist.
Who's he worse? He's not an economist. He's a trader. There's a huge
Yeah,
difference.
he's a bluffer.
Yeah, but who's he worse than? He can't be worse than Johnson or
Nobody's
Truss.
worse than Johnson.
So you think he's worse than Truss?
Yeah, no.
You talked yourself into a tight knot this morning, Jim. He's still the best out of those three, then.
He still gives me sleepless nights. And I'm in Scotland.
This is going to sound a bit bizarre, but I've been thinking about what it is about Rishi Sunak that's different from the others, and it's that he looks and acts like a human man.
I think I might agree with you. I might agree with you. Don't spoil it, Wolf.
In contrast to Boris Johnson, who, among his many qualities, looking normal and human.
I said don't spoil it.
He sometimes he would literally just make words.
He's a caricature. He's a cartoon character. Yes. He's a cartoon character. He's not a real human being.
He's not a real human being. And then you've got Liz Truss, who looks like she's been teleported into any given situation with no idea why she's there.
A disgrace. I have no idea what you're talking about.
It goes on about pork markets.
Yes.
But it's just like a comedy human, essentially.
Yes.
And then to cast a net further afield, you've got Michael Gove, who kind of looks like a slightly malfunctioning robot in a human suit.
Yes.
And it basically extends to the whole sort of...
Do Doris.
Oh, God, Doris is she belongs in the local pub with a drink in hand, holding court over whatever her current obsession is.
Fair enough.
She's just...
Well, we can all agree Jacob Rees-Mogg's very human, can't we? So your theory falls apart there, doesn't it? Falls apart there with a human penny farthing.
Jacob Rees-Mogg, absolutely.
I think you're right. Compared to the rest of them, astonishing. Sajid Javid as well, actually. They came across as quite... Dominic Raab with his throbbing vein, not human. Yeah. He's a cyborg, waiting for instructions.
You do have the only other character.
Good grief, you've cracked it.
The only other character archetype that you also get in the Tory front bench is the Disney villain.
Yes.
The Suella Braverman, Priti Patel are both comically evil Disney villains.
Yes. Yes, but I mean, for whom the cruelty is the point. So you're not even supposed to be looking for rationales or logic. I am here to be cruel because people want... And they'll never be PM for that reason because they're just obviously evil. I hope you're right at the end of that. I mean, they would, of course, dispute that they were obviously evil, but they are certainly performatively evil, and it's very hard to know where one stops and the other starts. So Rishi Sunak's success, such as it is, stroke was, stroke will be,
he looks and acts like a normal human.
Compared to the others, does he act and... Yeah. Does he speak and act like a normal human compared to your peer group or your friends?
Well, I don't know. My peer group crosses over so many areas that I wouldn't know, but he looks recognisably like someone that you would meet in public and think, oh, yes, that was a normal man, as long as he's not trying to use a pin pad.
Yes, yes, you're right, because that's
petrol in his car.
That's action, not character, isn't it? That's so what's he good at?
He can stand up in Parliament and speak like a normal person. He can wear a suit like a normal person. He doesn't look in any given interaction like he has no idea why he's there. He just kind of functions, and it's it's a damning indictment of our last decade of political chicanery that is the bare minimum that we will grasp onto it with both hands.
Rishi Sunak is very good at talking up a good game, and he's very good in the House of Commons saying, we are the best at this, we are the best at that, even though we're the worst.
Yes. Yeah, is it? Well, no, I don't. I think I'm going to argue with you, Roger, but you've listened to the programme before. You'll probably have been expecting that. Who's believing him, though?
Well, that's the thing.
He can't be very good at it if no one's believing him.
Well, that is true, but what I mean is that he talks a good game, as in, he thinks he talks a good game, I suppose, is the more accurate answer to that question.
He thinks he talks a good game. All right. So, I think on Wednesday at PMQs, you began to see the reality settling on his shoulders that he's beginning to realise he's not very good at this either. There was a real deflation to his manner, and all that talk of delivering and all of that sort of chirpy-chappy stuff down the barrel of a camera. I mean, you're being kind and we welcome positivity, but I don't think he is very good at talking stuff up because evidence keeps coming along and smacking him around the back of the head, which brings us back to Boris Johnson, who could make ludicrous claims. He could say, we got all the big calls right, where the evidence would lead you much, much closer to the conclusion that he got every single call wrong, big, small or middling. And so no, you can't possibly describe Rishi Sunak as good at talking things up when Boris Johnson actually was good at talking things up by dint of being such a brilliant liar.
Well, he's talking up a good game by not lying, but just sort of disguising the truth.
Delivering. We're delivering. The British people want me to deliver. Deliver. I don't know. Let's go through them. Which one's going to happen? We will halve inflation this year to ease the cost of living and give people financial security. How's he talking that up at the moment?
Well, he's talking that up by saying, I am halving inflation. It will happen. It will happen.
Okay, all right.
You have to believe. Hold your nerve, James. Hold your nerve.
I'll give you that one. We will grow the economy, creating better paid jobs and opportunity right across the country.
We're tiptoeing our way up. Well, 0.1.
Yeah,
now
that's
not
growth.
0.3, but that doesn't matter.
Technically, that is growing. We will make sure our national debt is falling so that we can secure the future of public services.
Next.
NHS waiting lists will fall and people will get the care they need more quickly.
Well, how dare people get sick?
He's not doing that. You're being too funny now. You're settling into your role. You've got to talk it up. You can't duck it. I think that's another next. And finally, stop the boats. We will stop the boat. We will pass new laws to stop small boats.
Moving on.
Moving swiftly on. I think we found something Rishi Sunak's good at. Remember the first hour of the programme? Well, there's been some breaking news since then. Rishi Sunak has now replied to Zac Goldsmith regarding the latter's resignation, and I think that we could reasonably suggest that Rishi Sunak is very good at snark, because this is an acceptance letter and accepting his resignation, which breaks down fairly neatly into three distinct categories. The first of which is I was firing you anyway. The second of which is, cheers. And the third of which is a long list of reasons why the reasons Zac Goldsmith has given for resigning are not actually true. So I love this. Dear Zac, thank you for your letter. I accept your resignation. There's no messing about there. You were asked to apologise for your comments about the Privileges Committee as we felt they were incompatible with your position as a Minister of the Crown. You have decided to take a different course. That's quality snark, isn't it? From Rishi Sunak. Essentially, obviously, rather than apologise for being part of a concerted attack upon the parliamentary committee, Zac Goldsmith has decided to run away and try to take his ball with him. And then he goes through a long list of all the things. All the things that he claims he's done in the context of the environment, which is what Zac Goldsmith, of course, accused him of not caring about. He writes, I am grateful for your service as Minister for the Overseas Territories, Commonwealth, Energy, Climate and Environment. You have been a vocal advocate for some of the most important issues that the UK and the world face today. And then he says your time in office and lists a bunch of things that he describes as historic UK successes. So that's snark as well, because by congratulating him on his role in these historic UK successes, he's kind of dismantling Goldsmith's claim that he didn't do anything or care about the environment. Well, you live and learn. So finally, we found something that Rishi Sunak's good at. I mean, it's not much use to the country to have a Prime Minister who's quite good at snark, but it's better than nothing.